Hiya, welcome to the video. Today we are looking at a distortion pedal called the Satchurator by Vox and Joe Satriani. Obviously your gain control controls the level of distortion that you get from 0 to 10. Even with it on 0 there's still a fair amount of gain. I mean more than you would find on a lot of distortion pedals, which is either a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you think. There's also a more switch, which means you can run the gain half mast and it'll bump it up to full on. So you just hit the pedal and you can go from half gain crunch to full on solo crazy madness. And this also works at any gain level, so if you had it on 0 and you put the more switch on, it would give it a fair bump up in gain as well. Whereas if you're on full gain already, it'll just add more sustain and a tiny little bit of extra gain, but mainly it's just more sustain if for some reason that's not enough gain already, because it's a very gainy pedal anyway. If you have the tone control further to the left, then you get more bass, and if you turn it to the right, then it pushes up the treble, which is fairly standard for these kind of pedals. Depending on how tolerant your amp is, you'll probably find it's best around about a quarter, maybe slightly more. But if you've got a very tolerant amp, you can put it up to half or maybe above before it starts fizzing out. The volume control's an interesting one because you seem to have it all the way up just to match with your clean setting. At least in my experience you do. Maybe with your amp it'll be slightly different, but I imagine it'll be all the way up most of the time unless you've got a pretty aggressive pedal running with it at the same time. The basic idea with the pad switch, which is a bit of a strange one, is that if you were running a very high gain sort of wah-wah or something similar to that, you could put the pad on and it would prevent the wah-wah from clipping and distorting while you're running the distortion pedal with it. That's the idea anyway. It's a very subtle sort of thing. I haven't found it hugely useful, but then again you might, so there you go. It's also worth mentioning that they're fairly silent switches as well, where they're not really noisy true bypass switches with huge annoying clicking sounds. They're very quiet buttons. I've recorded some direct audio examples with the gain control moving up in quarters, and then the same again with the more switch on, so you can hear the difference.